Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Mike's sort of instant movie review. Saw the film Presence last night, and it did have a presence in my heart. I enjoyed the film. Technically a horror film. I think non-horror fans could actually go see this movie and enjoy it too, because it's not a gore fest, it's not a kill fest. It's a psychological horror, I think you could say, a supernatural horror. And I will say, yes, I think even if you're a mainstream person, you can see this horror film and not be aghast, because it's not a lot of blood and guts, but there's real horror elements, and now I'll get into it. And so once you know that I endorse this movie, I think it's worth seeing. I guess out of 5 stars, I give it 3 3/4 perhaps. Steven Soderbergh was the director, or is the director. I did not notice that until after the movie ended. He's been around forever. Sex, Lies, and Videotape was his first movie, I believe. He's been around for a long time, done some big things, done some smaller things. This one did feel like it was shot with budgetary considerations in mind, and I think that probably worked for the better of the film. The cast, the only person that I recognized was Lucy Liu, and Lucy Liu, of course, at Charlie's Angels of the 90s variety with with Cameron Diaz and Drew Barrymore. Of course, Lucy Liu stood up to good old Bill Murray. As I've been noting, you know, even Richard Dreyfuss has a Bill Murray horror story. I think people like to sweep all this Bill Murray stuff under the rug because he's such a beloved, anti-authoritarian type of comedian, supposedly. But apparently Bill Murray's been a real asshole to people, and Lucy Liu stood up for him all those years ago. Well, she's still quite the good actress, quite lovely. In this role, she's the mom of this family of 4. The mother, the father, the 2 kids. I did like in this movie that, I guess you would, who's to say what's what, but would you call this, I think we have our terms mixed up, because aren't we all part of the human race? But I guess you would say interracial family by the terms we use. I guess you'd say Lucy Liu, is she, well, her character, I don't know, I guess Asian, and her husband is a big white guy, and they have these kind of kids, but the biracial stuff never comes into play in this movie. What does come into play, however, is the father has a tendency to protect his daughter, who I'd say is supposed to be like 16, maybe a young 17 in this movie. And the mother has, Lucy Liu's character, has a tendency to really dote on her boy, her son, that I believe is supposed to be a senior in high school, 18 years old, 17 or 18 years old. Apparently there's 10 months difference between the older brother and the younger sister. And this movie also, the first thing you'll probably notice is the interesting camera perspective. It seems like the camera is on, not a tripod, but basically the opposite, like a handheld camera is following these characters around, and we, the audience, are kind of in the shoes or the eyes of a ghost, it would seem. That we are the ghost, and we'll find out later who that ghost is. So what it is what it is. This family, as the movie begins, this family of 4 is moving into this new neighborhood that's not too far from their old neighborhood. The daughter apparently has been through some traumatic thing, which we find out soon enough is the death of a friend of hers. Now, when I initially, maybe I'm just jaded because of our society, but I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking, was this like her girlfriend? Like, was this young woman that's dead, was Nadia is the name, is that like the lesbian lover of this young high school girl? Chloe, I believe was the name, Chloe Blue. But that's not the case, as we discover. And the older brother's name is Tyler. Tyler, what a Kip name. That's a good name, like Kip. Kip is a good name for these modern day gentlemen. So basically, Tyler, older brother's kind of an asshole. He's kind of a bully. He's kind of a jerk. His father is always trying to get him to protect his younger sister. The father had a 6-year period where he didn't talk to his sister after high school. The father character, who I think Chris Sullivan, for some reason I'm remembering all these actors' names. Chris Sullivan, I thought, as the dad, I don't know where I've seen this guy. Was he on some show that I didn't watch? But I thought he was quite lovable as a dad in a movie. He really cares about his kids. He's trying to get the best out of his son. He's like super sensitive when it comes to his daughter. There's also this other kind of, I would say, a C storyline of some type of financial situation that the wife, Lucy Liu's character, is in, where she has been the party to some type of crime at work. And it's just kind of floating around in the background. I don't know if that situation... So for a while I was thinking, did the wife character cheat on her husband? But it's not that. It's that she's been involved in some illegalities that the husband is thinking of like bailing on her, but he decides not to. I don't know. That kind of seemed like the 12 pounds of shit, like the 2 pounds of shit overflowing from the 10-pound bag. Because unless I'm missing something, and maybe I am, it didn't seem like this financial crisis that's being referenced really came into play in this movie. I guess the characters just needed some other shit to talk about. But like I said, maybe I'm missing out on something. I guess it would have been, at this point, it would have been cliche if, you know, the wife had cheated on the husband, but he's still stuck around in the marriage as a simp. Because we see that in so many movies where one of the characters has cheated on the other character, and the cheateree sticks by and stands around and bites the bullet. I mean, what about you fine folks? Leave a comment, because I give a shit. If someone cheated on you in a relationship, would you stick around like a simp, or would you bail? Answer me. So anyway, the people in the movies always seem to stick around. Like, that's, for the last however many years you go to the movies, people get cheated on. They just stay in this, where they're not being respected. I don't understand it. But in any regard, going back to the film, we're from Nadia's perspective, the ghost, the dead friend. And, you know, I thought this movie was good. Here's where I knew trouble was happening. When Tyler, at his new high school, brings home a blonde-haired buddy, as soon as that blonde-haired buddy like takes a glimpse of Tyler's younger sister Chloe, I knew that this guy was nothing but trouble. And why do you say that, Mike? Well, he had the long blonde hair. He just looked like a fucking Chad. He looked like a rapist. He looked like a character that right away you could tell is no good. And just the way he kind of says hi to Chloe, hey, and then she responds, hey. It's like, okay, these two are gonna fuck, and it's not gonna be good. Like, I can just see all that coming. And then right away, the character, I can't remember his fucking name, but he basically tells his pal Tyler, hey, I want to bang your sister, and so forth. So it's kind of like a creepy thing. Like, I never understood people like that who bring their friends around and their friends hook up with the siblings. It's kind of incestuous by like default in some regard, or by association, if you would. I don't know. But that's what happens in real life, and that's what happens in this movie. So this young Chloe, she starts romancing the stone of this bad boy, this blonde. And if you've seen the movie by now, I guess I'm going to spoil the goddamn thing. This creep is the guy that killed Nadia and another girl. And now by the end of the movie, he's fixing his sights to kill our girl Chloe here after she's already fornicated him. Which I was a little confused, because if this kid is getting the sex from Chloe, you know, beautiful young Chloe, why does he want to kill her? I mean, it's, you know what I mean? I just didn't quite get it. I guess you can make a point, hey, gee whiz, Mike, he kills her after she refutes another round of sex with him, which is true, but he was kind of playing the cry routine. It seemed like she would probably fornicate him again, but he's going to kill him, and then Tyler comes flying in, and as his father predicted, I know that you have it in you to be a really excellent man someday, Tyler, and I'd really just love to see it. Well, he does see it, but he sees it in death. And you can kind of tell that this was a lower budget film, although it didn't look like it. I actually saw it in a beautiful Dolby Digital screen auditorium, because when they had the final shot, like I said, spoilers, folks, when they had the final death shot of Tyler and the bad guy going through the window and plummeting to their death, like their immediate death, you didn't see like the impact of their bodies flying through the ground and hitting the hard pavement. The way that the camera angle, we are spared seeing their bodies hit the cold ground. 9 out of 10 horror films, if they could afford it, would show us the death upon impact, because the horror fans like that type of thing, because you're all a bunch of sickos. But this film did not, because what I'm saying is they probably spent the majority of the budget on the paycheck for Lucy Liu and Steven Soderbergh and all these people, but they didn't really put the money into this movie. I mean, I guess camera angles is where the money went. It didn't go to like blood and guts, and like, if I'm counting correctly, not including Nadia, and apparently Nadia had another person that was with her, another girl that died in the exposition, the stuff we do not see in the film. But basically, we only see 2 deaths in this whole horror film. And I thought it was quite effective, quite frankly, Frank. So I thought it was quite good. I do like, there's a real heart warmer of a scene. See, I'm warming my heart. My heart's getting warm. Where the dad makes this like whole fucking speech to Chloe. Like, this guy really earned his paycheck as an actor. I think it's also kind of interesting, like I said, I like the fact that they didn't directly address the whole whatever the fuck, interracial relationship stuff. Back in my day, when I was 5 and you'd watch sitcoms or movies, if there was a biracial couple in the film, that was the whole goddamn film. Wesley Snipes in Jungle Fever and so forth. Was it Isabella Rossellini? But basically, that used to be like the whole movie. Like, if there was a biracial couple, that was the whole film. These days, it's just part of the fun. But I did like his Dad of the Year speech to his little daughter. That was nice. He references her grandmother, his mother. I thought that was all nice, good stuff, good chops. Acting. I didn't really mention the whole poltergeist lady, but that was a couple of good scenes. There wasn't a lot of characters in this film. I think maybe 10 or 12 at the most. But the poltergeist lady was kind of cool. And I did like I said, spoilers, I did like the end shot of the whole mirror with Tyler, the ghost of Tyler, now that he's dead. And if you think about it, Tyler's dead because we saw earlier in Presence, like when all the weird shit was happening, it was happening in Tyler's room. And what I liked that the poltergeist lady said was, there's a spirit in here, and the spirits don't experience time the same way. And she couldn't really put her finger on what the spirit was. So what I thought it was is that it wasn't the spirit of Nadia, it was actually Tyler's spirit. Tyler's spirit in death is kind of jumping around and going back in time to help the living Tyler himself do the thing, like save his sister's life, but sacrificing his own. Now that also kind of makes us wonder, like when the spirit knocked the laced orange juice drink off the little counter, was that Tyler's spirit, or was that Nadia's spirit, or is it some type of combination of Tyler and Nadia? We don't really know. And I did like the whole Lucy Liu thing early in the movie, where I thought we were going down the fucking Hamlet route, the incest route, where she's like kind of doting over her son in a bit of a inappropriate way, as the kids say. Like, she's kind of like, I must protect the child. I've never felt so close to anyone. Like, she's doting on her fucking, 17 or 18-year-old son like he's her boyfriend. And he's like, I think you need to go to sleep, Mom. Oh, thanks, son. After I just poured my fucking heart out to you. After you came out of my body. But basically, she, like I said, it's kind of interesting. The mother is more loving towards the son. The father's more loving towards the daughter, protective. And we see where this is all headed. Tyler finally becomes the protective older brother his father wanted him to be. But in order to do so, he must die. And that's what I've seen in these other movies. I still think about that horror movie, Swimming Pool or Night Swim, from a couple of summers ago, where the father must sacrifice. All these horror films where the father must die in order to save the family. Well, here's an evolution. Now it's the son must die. So all these men, we don't have any value except to die for these goddamn people, for these families and women. We just must die. Otherwise, we serve no purpose, apparently, according to these horror filmmakers. The men must die. That makes a good movie. Just so you know, men, that's your value in life, is to die for other people. In any goddamn regard, I enjoyed the film. The young actress who played Chloe, I think she's got a future. Lucy Liu, I'm telling you. I mean, she must be, 50-ish, 50-something. Still looks great. And the dad, and even Tyler playing the prickly son. I mean, and you see this with families, with teenagers especially. They are assholes, as we know. Teenagers are assholes. They're self-involved. And when you have these rivalries, these siblings that are born within a few months of each other, they're always fighting for attention. Who do the parents love more? All that happy horse shit on a sandwich. So I just thought it was a very good movie, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Now, guess what? I went to see that movie. Then I went to see Flight Risk. I did have tickets for both. I did not do a sneak in. But at the end of Flight Risk, there was another screening, like the following screening of Presence going on. And I said, well, what the gee whiz fuck? I'm going to go see like the last hour or 45 minutes or so of Presence a second time, because I wanted to pick up on some of the things. And so that's why this review is so wonderful and so informative, because I did that, okay? For Christ's sakes. I have all these things in my vehicle, all these clothing choices, because I put all these clothes in here, and I have fucking pens and markers and horse shit. Then I bought like this goddamn thing, which is like you put your pens in here. Of course, there's no pens in here ever. But like the idea was you put your pens in there so you have a writing utensil. But I never seem to have a goddamn writing utensil in there now that I have it. I'm currently looking for this thingamabob to enter the fucking house, to enter the door. Of course, I can't find it. Oh my God, everything's such a pain in my ass. God in heaven. Here's my wallet, for Christ's sakes. I thought that I had left that in the house. I thought I was driving without my wallet, but apparently I wasn't. All these things. No, I don't live in my car. I just do a lot of things, and I like to have all my things that I might possibly need at my fingertips. So I do keep a lot of things in my vehicle, because I don't know exactly what I'm going to need at any given time. Okay, is that such a crime, people? But the downside of that is then you get like this overabundance of stuff. And then and the worst is the summer, when some of this stuff shouldn't be, heat exposed. Oh my Christ. And now I can't find the one thing that I really need, which is the door opener, for God's sakes. So it's always a pain in the ass, just life. It's just a difficult thing to do, to wake up in the morning, to deal with all these assholes. and to just do things. Just Christ in heaven. Oh my God. So I did see Flight Risk. I guess I'll do another video on that. And I did see another movie, Brave the Dark, I think it was called. So far, I guess I've seen 3 movies over the last 2 nights. 3.5, really, if you count the second screening, sort of the fucking, whatever the fuck, The Presence. But now it's like, I'm wondering if this thing that I need, here it is, I think. No, that's something else. Everything just sucks. Oh, wait. Then it's like, oh, I put it up here. Well, folks, that's your buddy Mike Messier. Did I just push? Oh, look, it worked. So now I can get inside the warm house. It is chilly in Florida, believe it or not. So Mike Messier, MikeMessier.com. My wonderful novel, Fight or Play Basketball, is available. One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan YouTube channel will have a wonderful interview with the author Nikita Breznikov, the writer of the Pro Wrestling Fan memoir, When It Was Real, about the WWF in the 1970s, which is now the WWE. At one point, it was the WWF, World Wrestling Federation. And that's it. Your buddy Mike Messier. Subscribe if you're new, or don't if you don't want to. It's free will.